Thanks for tuning in. Out of the Fast Lane with Brady Hauser. Bringing you the best in dirt track racing. Out of the Fast Lane! Dirt flying high! Out of the Fast Lane! Fire in their eyes! Out of the Fast Lane! Thunder rolling by! Out of the Fast Lane! Where legends never die!
Okay, this
I
is the
believe I
first
am. Yeah.
first time we've done this in like 3 years. Welcome back to the Out of the Fast Lane podcast. Brady Hauser alongside John Connor. We got our special guest from Legacy Motorsports joining us here tonight, Austin Pollak. We'll talk about him in a minute, obviously, but John, we got a lot to cover up after the fact. After we're done with this interview, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. We're gonna do our new in NASCAR because we filmed the podcast on Tuesday, which you guys will see very soon. But a lot has changed in the past 48 hours involving the O'Reilly Auto Parts series and Ford kind of being like left out in the dry. There's only one Ford entering now for Saturday's race at Rockingham. Whole bunch of stuff we'll talk about after the fact. But enough about that. We'll get right into it. We have Legacy Motorsports car chief for the Eric Jones team, Austin Pollak joining us. I've known Austin for quite a few years. Grew up in the same hometown as me. The Pollak family is very well known in the Johnstown, New York area. Maybe for more of his sisters. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if
not so me. No,
but
not so me.
Austin, first off, thank you for taking some time out of your week. And I know it's your week off, but how's things going, man?
Thanks for having me. It's going good. I know obviously it's a little early in the season, but it's always good to have a weekend off. We've kind of been burning hard since Christmas, getting everything going, rebuilding parts and getting cars built, and then the season and hitting all different types of tracks that we have already. So it's kind of good just to have already a weekend off to recharge the batteries and then get into the thick of it.
Absolutely. Do you, as a car chief, do you like having the weeks off? I know you guys, a lot of stress that goes into making these race cars fast every week. Is the week off just like, okay, it's good to have just one week to maybe set all of the stuff aside and then come back to it next week?
To be honest, I don't. I actually prefer if we're just once you get going, you kind of fall into a rhythm and you just kind of start hitting your stride and it already feels like, oh, we're stopping. But to be honest, not much changes. Uh we already worked in the shop this week. We're still gearing up towards Bristol. It just the only thing that changes is we're just not going anywhere on the weekend. So everything's still full steam ahead with people at the shop and even the road crew and pit crews doing pit practice throughout the week. So the only thing is just us not being at the track this weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like we were doing our podcast this week, earlier this week, and we have to make our picks, and we are like, man, there's no Cup Series race this week. This is kind of weird. Or some days we don't know what we're gonna do. But debatably so. NASCAR obviously made that change a couple of years ago. You guys used to race at Bristol, I believe it was Bristol Dirt during Easter, and
Yeah.
now it's just a week off. So did you like that change at first when they got to said, all right, we're gonna scrap the dirt and you guys can get the weekend off to be with your families?
Well, for one, I liked it because I never really liked us racing on Easter. I really believe that we should, on Easter, you should be with your families and, especially if you have little kids at home. And I have a little kid. So, but at the same time, coming from a dirt racing background, I really hated when we took Bristol Dirt off the schedule and didn't do it anymore. So I was kind of split between both worlds on that, but I definitely enjoy us not racing on Easter.
Yeah. The dirt background. I mean, we all obviously we're New York guys, so we all understand the dirt racing. Did you guys like because we'll talk about obviously all the stuff that you've done in a minute here, but when you guys had to set up your race cars for a dirt setup, obviously you know a lot about dirt racing, so I'm sure it was kind of easy for you to know everything, but did you like having to set up one race car strictly to put in the mud?
I did. The hard part was is our cars were not meant to be dirt racing, and the tires that we raced on were not meant to be for our heavy of cars. A dirt modified back home weighs half of what these cup cars weigh, and and you're running on twice as wide a tire than what we were in cup cars. So it was always a struggle, and a lot of the drivers and the team owners didn't like it being a one-off. Obviously, all of us dirt people that came from a dirt background enjoyed it, but it was very hard to put on just once a year. We really needed, I think 2 or 3 to be logical in a year to do it.
Yeah, and I know they did like the NASCAR truck stuff. John, maybe you can attest. Do you think like obviously we'll both answer it here. John and Austin, do you guys think that maybe bringing dirt would be a good thing back for the sport? I know right now NASCAR's kind of been a little bit of a downhill as far as ratings go. When they bring the dirt racing in, like even for the truck stuff, it seems like Eldora, the Knoxville, like those races brought people back into the sport, especially like all of our Northeast people, because obviously they get to watch Stu on the truck side of things race. I'll start with you, John. Did you think that maybe bringing back dirt would be a good thing for NASCAR, or do you think maybe we should just scrap that? Because Jonathan Davenport, when he ran it a couple years ago, he said it was just like a mediocre late model race, is what he said, and his opinion was very harsh on the NASCAR side of things. But do you think that they maybe should bring that back?
I think it'd be fun to see it back because it was a lot of fun to watch the trucks and Cup, very entertaining. Obviously, the finish to the last race with Briscoe and Reddick getting together, and then Kyle Busch sneaking through on the outside. That was a very chaotic, fun finish. It was just fun to see something that you can't see at any other point in the season. Like it's only going to happen once a year. It was fun and especially sucked after losing Eldora. So now we have no dirt.
Yep.
Well, no dirt for Cup because I know Tony Stewart spoke about it a while back. He was like, I want Eldora to be the first Cup Series dirt track. So when Bristol became the first, I think that's why it was taken off the truck schedule as well. So, but yeah, it'd be fun to see it back.
Yeah, and Austin, what's your take on it? Do you think, obviously from the car chief side of things, would you like to bring dirt back into your guys' program, or you just think that maybe we could just wipe that and continue on with what we're doing?
I personally think I want it back. I want to do more than one event here. Take some of these road courses off of our schedule and have us go dirt racing. But I would like to do it at like real facilities that are already dirt. That I know they tried to bring the trucks to Knoxville, but Knoxville, why it looks big when the 410s are on it, but when you put that whole truck field on it, it was a very narrow track. Places like Eldora was good because it's very wide and it's just big enough to make space for trucks. But like, I think it would be good if you took the Cup Series and you ran at like tracks that are dirt, not bringing dirt to places like Bristol. I
Mhm.
always enjoyed running pavement races at Bristol rather than putting dirt on it. But
Yeah.
I would like to go do it at places that are already dirt tracks across the country.
And I feel like the Bristol dirt thing, because Bristol is not is very, even like in the asphalt side of things, it's really rough on your guys' equipment. Obviously, next gen's like we know about the tire thing right now. Bristol's that one track where like you guys are going through tires like crazy. I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
even on the dirt side of things, like you guys were really like mangling up your equipment. Like your guys' equipment had to be pretty wore out by the end of it.
Yeah, you pretty much scrapped that car. Even when we got into this next gen area, you really couldn't use that chassis for anything else. It was pretty beat up from that point. So it did not make sense financially.
Absolutely. Well, I know John's got some questions about your background that he wants to talk about. So, John, by all means.
Yeah, so pretty much my main question to start out is like how did you fully get into racing coming from Johnstown? Like I know for me, I just have one dirt track kind of near me, so is I as a kid I wanted to be, get into racing in some form. Ended up finding this go-kart track that I run at, but not competitively. Just yeah, like how did you get into it?
So, obviously I got into racing just from a fan perspective, from my dad taking me to our local dirt track on Saturday nights. And then I was lucky enough to have multiple dirt tracks around us, um, probably within 4, 5 tracks within an hour and a half, 2 hour range. And so we would travel to those and then obviously go to NASCAR races in the summertime when I was out of school, my dad would take me. As far as working on cars, it really didn't start till like 2001. My sister was good friends with a bunch of people who owned a race team, and they were at our local dirt track. And she came and grabbed me out of the stands and took me back into the pits. And they just had me clean the car after every time it came off the track, And I had a squeegee and I scraped all the mud off. And then they gave me a can of Pledge and they said, here's a microfiber, make it look brand new. And so I did that. And apparently they thought I did a good enough job that they invited me to go to the next race with them 2 nights later. And then I just ended up starting with them. And it started off small. It started off just cleaning the car after runs. Then I started doing tires. Then they moved me to changing gears. And then after within a year, I was full on turning wrenches on the car and helping them build it. And then going to their shop and helping them put the car together at nights. So that's how it all started for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's fun to hear the background because my mom's friend does vintage racing. She bought
Okay.
like a an older car and she let me help on it like the one time we were invited out. And I'm not I call myself a car guy, but I'm not too big. Like I don't know a lot about the mechanics, and it's cool seeing all of it, but trying to work on it and like do what she was telling me to do to help her, it was kind of stressful. So it's like, you know, it's just fun to hear the backstories because, sorry,
No,
I'm rambling a little
absolutely.
bit, but
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times in my career that uh, when I started off on the asphalt side of things is how many times I moved up divisions that you practically restarted. Hey, you're going back to square one. You're the cleaning the parts guy, and I tell everybody that like, you're never big enough to not do those things, and especially along the way, no matter how much experience you have and how long you've been doing it, it always needs to be done by somebody, whether you've been doing it for 20 years or if it's your first day on the job. So, it's kind of amazing how much it just kind of recycles through.
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, more about like how you got into NASCAR, however. I know like the dirt racing side of things, we all have our super dirt car series, our short track super series. How did you like venture into, okay, I'm gonna take a break from dirt, try to see if I can make a business a thing out of this. And how did you like get into NASCAR? What was like the feeding point?
So, probably like I graduated high school in '05, and probably back around like 2004. So I'd already been doing the dirt thing for about 3, 4 years. Um, we had won a lot, and we'd won at a lot of places with Brett Hearn, and then we
Mhm.
started as Stuart Friesen drove for the team I worked for, and we were just winning, and it kind of you hate to say it, but it got boring. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, this is easy, right? You kind of only have that mentality of it. Is man, wherever we went, it seemed like we were a top three, top five car. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go try that NASCAR thing. I feel like there's not much more for me to do here. So when I graduated in '05, I moved to North Carolina in August of '05. So like a month and a half after I graduated high school, and I went to NASCAR Technical Institute, which is ran by UTI. And I had to do like a year of normal mechanic classes, which I learned a lot there because I really didn't know much about working on ordinary cars and trucks. And then I got into the motorsport side of it. And I almost kind of felt like I was like, man, I already kind of know this aspect of what they were teaching me. So while I was still in school, I just started putting out resumes to every race shop in town. And at that point, 95% of the teams were based in Mooresville, or in Huntersville, probably about 15 miles down the road. So I just every other day I'd go out and hand out resumes just trying to get a job, and no one would hire me. And then eventually, right after I graduated in '06, I got hired by Key Motorsports, which was a Craftsman truck team at the time. And then Mike Bliss was their driver, and started off cleaning parts.
That's a
And
name I haven't heard in a long time. Mike
yeah,
Bliss. Man, that's throwing
yeah,
back.
the Hammer. That was his nickname, the Hammer. But I started off cleaning parts, and then within a month, I was the second mechanic on the team, and I was the jack man for race days, and it just rolled from there. I worked there for the first year, and then I stayed in the truck series and at the time the Bush series for oh Lord, probably 3, 4 years before I moved on.
You just said Jackman. I did not know that you were a Jackman at one point. How much physically do you have to prepare for that? I feel like that has to be a very, very hard job to do.
It was, the first time you go and you peg the jack post and then you go to push down on the handle. And, at the time I weighed 190 pounds, 195. You kind of just hang off the handle. You're like, oh God, so we had a weightlifting program that I had to go do, and we did pit stops twice, 3 times a week. I mean, back then in the truck in the Xfinity Bush series, there wasn't like all these cup teams, and there wasn't these pro athletes that there are now. The rule was back then that actually the road crew was the pit crew. It was actually built in to save teams money back then. So literally, the guys that went and worked on the car all weekend during practice and such also did pit stops. So to me, in an aspect, I really, my knees don't thank me now, but I do miss it because it did add a whole nother factor to it on race weekends. But I think it would be good for the lower series to go back to doing that and having competitive pit stops with your road crew actually being the pit crew instead of bringing in these athletes to do it.
No, but on the other side of things, obviously your team now, Legacy, you're working with a lot of guys that played football or they come from a sports background. I mean, it's still got to be cool a little bit, at least knowing like, hey, these guys used to be either NFL players or
Oh,
college players.
absolutely. Absolutely. Unfortunately, no Bills players on our team. I'm really pushing our pitch
I'm
coach,
wearing the Bills.
to get on that path of, he's got to get up to Orchard Park and start, these guys that we're letting go, be like, hey, come on, let's go. Get them in our feeder system. But no, I love the guys that we have as a pit crew. And I love that, it kind of does bring another aspect and set of eyes into our sport. In that competitiveness, view. But at the same time, like I still, for the lower series, I think it would be a good way to
Mhm.
save money. And also, I think it really says a lot more in my mind back then. Like I felt like the groups that were on the road were a lot tighter back then for just because of that aspect.
John, you got anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, with having to also work on the pit crew, like, do you think that made you more attached and like hoping that the win would happen a little bit more? I know you're already hoping that the truck you're working on or the car you're working on wins, but does that make you even more, I don't know, happy or involved, I
It
guess?
does make you feel another step of jubilation, right? Because now you didn't have to rely on somebody else to help you do that. Like not a more group. You had your 7 core guys, and you 7 did it. So I would agree. Yeah, it kind of made you go like we were the best. Like nobody else here was better than us today. But at the same time, when you messed up, then it was on you guys. It was no more like, oh, the pit crew cost us the race. No, it was on you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can relate to that at all, but um talking about back on the crew subject, obviously right now with Legacy, you said the competitiveness. I do see that a little bit on your Twitter that you were on Twitter as much, but a little bit on your Twitter, you guys like to have some fun throughout the weeks as well. I see you guys like you golf, you frisbee golf. I'm sure there's got to be a good rivalry there with you guys as crew guys. See who's the best of all trades when it comes to like just not even take the racing aside of things, just see who's good at whatever else you guys get to do.
Oh, absolutely. We all got to be talking smack throughout the week. A lot of people come in and I give them shop tours, and they see the way we talk to one another, and they think we all hate each other. But that's just the group of guys. That's when you have a good group of guys. Just when we want to be the best. Obviously on Sundays, but we also want to be the best within ourselves and we all push each other. Like, if one of us sees something's not necessarily 100%, and I mean, we're talking like 99.5, they're going to go after the other guy on the team and say, hey, you need to get the rest of that. You need to, you're better than that. And that's it. That's the kind of people you want in your organization.
Absolutely. Do you get to win the golf matches, or do you always get your butt kicked?
No, no, I finish like third every time. You got to make them feel good about themselves, right? Like,
Our chief can't, like the chief can't always win. Is what you're
no,
saying.
no, no. To be honest, every now and then I get a win, and I make sure I take my selfie with my number one finger and I post it on my Twitter, and but I get about one of those, maybe once or twice a year, and that's it. The
And
rest of the time, those guys are way better at it than me.
and do I recall Eric also takes part in that as well with you guys?
Eric and his wife Holly, they like to come out, usually Bristol weekends, they go with us because Saturdays are a little bit more condensed. They kind of NASCAR pushes the schedule along so we can get other people, the other series on track. So usually he has more downtime and to leave the motor coach, they come with us. Obviously, that changed a little bit now that he has his son David, and they spend a lot of time with him. But on the weekends that we go out on the West Coast where David doesn't come, Eric goes with us.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. Love to hear that you guys do a lot of bonding off the track as well, which I think is crucial for any kind of team. If you want to be successful, obviously, you got to
Correct.
make sure you guys are all friends and family at the end of the day. So let's push back a couple of years. Obviously, you started in the truck series with Mike Bliss, like you mentioned, in the Bush series. Then you got to work with the Nemecheks for a little bit, and it kind of came full circle. You got to work with John Hunter again, and obviously, you're still working as he's your teammate. Take me back to those years of working with the Nemecheks, how great it was. And ultimately, you guys made that eight team that was unsponsored for quite a while. You put it in victory lane a couple of times. So it's like you guys had success as well.
Yeah, the Nemco days, God, you had to be a racer to work at Nemco because the hours were long. Not to say that the pay wasn't what it was at Joe Gibbs or Hendrick Motorsports. So you struggled a little bit on that end, but you weren't starving or anything. But you had to be a racer, and those were the people Joe wanted. And man, there was nothing more gratifying than going out and beating the GMSs and the
Hmm.
KBMs of the world. When there was literally, I think, 7 or 8 of us full-time employees, and that included Joe himself, who worked in the shop 24/7. And going out and beating these teams that had 100 people, 120 people, and you'd go out and you'd win. And right across from me on the other side of the screen is my trophy from Iowa, the gas pump trophy, and
Heck
I
yeah.
keep that right here in my dining room. The few trophies that my wife lets me keep out, the rest are all jammed in a closet, unfortunately.
Oh,
You
come
know,
on.
well, some of
Yeah.
them I make sure my daughter doesn't hang off and break them, but the
Yeah.
rest of
Okay.
them, the wife's like, yeah, I lost my office for my daughter's playroom, so a lot of stuff's shoved in the
Gotcha.
closet these
Yeah.
days.
Like
But
I see behind you, you got the Snowball Derby trophy, I believe that is.
yep, I got my Derby trophy and then my Southern 500 trophy that Eric gave me for when we won,
Nice.
and then
Awesome.
I got just my Brickyard brick, and then my Southern 500 ring up there. But that's pretty much out. That's all that I got out. Everything else is all of my trophies from the Nemco days. I mean, we were, we won about 2 to 3 truck races a year, and then countless super and pro late model wins with John Hunter. Um, and God, man, that was fun. Just going to the racetrack and knowing you were the car to beat, like when you'd go super late model racing. And then when we go truck racing, you knew we were going to be a top 5, top 6 truck every week. And we made sure people knew we were there to be serious. We weren't there to play. And I think, I didn't realize it until I left Nemco to go work for GMS, just how much people disliked us because they would get yelled at by their bosses. They'd be like, we have 120 people and we're getting beat by 7, 8 guys. Like how's that happening? And that kind of puts a smile on your face and lets you know what you're doing really. And that it kind of made me smile at least.
And full circle now, obviously he's your teammate now, still with Legacy. I'm sure it's just gotta be cool that you guys still have the familiar faces from, hey, years ago we were kicking ass against the guys that didn't think we could kick ass against. Now you're back full circle working with the same people. It's gotta be pretty neat.
Yeah, obviously in 22, the last time we did this, I was on Eric's car.
Hmm.
And then the following year, I got moved to the 42 team and I worked with Noah Gregson. And then the following year, I worked with John Hunter when John Hunter came in. And it was kind of like, hey, look at this two guys that, John Hunter, when I first started working with him, he was 14 years old.
Hmm.
and it was really cool. It's like, hey man, we both made it. We're in Cup,
Yep.
and unfortunately, we didn't have the success that we wanted to have together. We had some really good runs, but it was a rough go. And then at the end of that year, the team, the organization wanted to make a change, and they swapped teams. And I got put back in charge of Eric's car, and I've been there since. So.
I had one question about going back to the wins. Like, what do you think's your favorite win, like that you've ever had?
That's a great question.
So obviously, my biggest accomplishment is so far, and I'm going to preface this so far because I know we're going to win a race this year. I think we're going to
Hmm.
win one or two races.
Yeah.
Um, is our my Southern 500 win in 22 with Eric, because we didn't luck into that win. We ran the last 19, 20 laps against Denny Hamlin, who's arguably one of the best there, and obviously Eric's not too shabby himself at Darlington, but we it wasn't a fluke. We ran top five all day, and we won that race. And for a small cup team like ourselves at that time to do that against a powerhouse, I think said a lot about our group and the product we were putting on track that year. We did really good that year. But I think my most favorite win, and the one that means the most to me, is probably I won a truck race at Talladega in 2018 with Timothy Peters.
Yep.
And I say that's my favorite because it's the only race so far that my dad's been that attended that we won, that or I've been a
Hmm.
part of wanting with. And the hug I got that day after, being done at the track and going to the camper, and the hug I got from my dad, I tell people that's like my core memory since
Yeah.
I've been in NASCAR. Like that's my favorite win.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about the next gen stuff here in a little bit because obviously there's still a lot of challenges that the Cup teams are still experiencing with these cars because I think just this past week at Martinsville, Connor Zilic was the one that got wrecked and like was complaining that these cars are so stiff and there's a lot going on. We'll talk about that in a second. Um, First off, I'll ask, is it kind of a little bit of a flex you can go around and tell people like, hey, I'm in charge of Richard Petty's famous 43 car? Like that's got to be kind of cool just off the get-go, right?
Well, it's I don't really know if it's much of a flex because pretty much everywhere you look down here, it's people that work in racing because that's all that is,
Yep.
So you don't really get to do that. But at the same time, it is very cool to think of, when I was little and I was just starting to go race with my dad. Richard Petty was on his last year driving in '92, and my dad's man cave had a bunch of Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt stuff in it, and you'd look at it and to think, that little kid, if he knew all these years later that he'd be, in charge of that
Hmm.
car, that's really cool, and I do really treasure that, and the responsibility and all the pressure that comes with it. I see Richard and Dale Inman every Tuesday. They come to the shop and they walk through and they'll come over and talk with me about, what happened this past weekend, where do we need to be better, and it's always, they don't say, they go, my car, what's wrong with my car, so it's still their car. So, but it's really kind of surreal.
Absolutely, John. I know you want to talk about the relationship side of things that he has, obviously, with those team people.
Yeah, so kind of going into it. Among the crew and just in general, like how is your relationship with your crew specifically, and then Eric Jones, and after that, Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty kind of on the top. Like if you have a relationship with them and how good is it?
I'd say my relationship's really good with everybody. I think I don't really know how to preface it. Like I kind of feel like I push everybody and like I expect the most out of all of them. And you have to talk to everybody in a different way, right? Like not everybody responds to things in the same way. And I think that's where I kind of excel in that is I kind of know what buttons to push with everybody to get the best out of them.
Mhm.
And if I can't, then I shouldn't be in this position. So everybody reacts different to certain things and how they are, and I think I think with my road crew, I have a great relationship with. We have a group chat, and we talk smacking it every night. And I think my wife most of the time's like, "Hey, I'm right here. Pay attention to me." Unfortunately, but you know, same with the pit crew. The pit crew I don't talk to as much. I keep them informed on things that we have going on during the week. Um, whether that be what we have for droop numbers and corners and jack post heights. And every now and then I'll go down to pit practice and watch pit practice, interact with them. Obviously we depend very heavily on them on race days. So, from that aspect, I think anywhere, even with our crew chief Justin, I talk with him nightly, and we talk about life and what we got going on with our families, even while we're at the shop. So, you have to get along with everybody,
Mhm.
and have some sort of a relationship with them. It just depends on like how personal and what kind of relationship that is. As far as when it comes to like Richard, I don't have a very personal relationship with Richard. More or less, we talk cars, and he'll tell me all. I mean, for I think, oh God, what's it? Richard's now 85, I think.
Yep.
He can tell you what he ran for a setup back in '66, and he can tell you what happened on what lap, and Joe Weatherly and all this stuff, and it blows
Mhm.
your mind. And the same with Dale Ingman. Like, I feel like I have a lot closer relationship with Dale Ingman. We'll sit there and yeah, he actually calls me Fonda because he remembers when they won the two NASCAR races there. I think back in '64 and '65. He remembers what leaf springs they ran in that car. So in the graveyard that used to be back there behind turn three, like he can remember things like that, and it's
Yep.
wild.
Mhm.
So I'm very close with Dale. Jimmy, I talked with Jimmy. We kind of were joking in the lounge this weekend, and we were joking on pit road before the race. Just kind of like cutting it up. But like, I don't really get to see Jimmy as much. He's very busy, obviously, with all of
Yep.
our partners and making things happening for the club and making sure we have the funding and what we need to compete on Sunday. So I don't get to see him as much. He's there, obviously, during the week. He's there for our big team meetings on
Mhm.
Tuesday. But on that side of it, I'm not as close with Jimmy as I am Dale.
Absolutely. I was just gonna ask, like, obviously you guys are how people don't really see behind the scenes in the shops every week. Like NASCAR, I think that's what NASCAR like on Fox needs to do more of is they need to have more, I think, in the shop kind of material. Like I think they should go see the shops because like I feel like you guys kind of get like pushed aside. It's more about the drivers. I feel like the crews do is just as much work, but I also kind of want to know like how hands-on are Jimmy and Richard in the shop? Do they come in and like work on the race cars with you, or they just kind of like observe
No,
everything?
no, no. Like Richard, like I said, he just shows up Tuesdays and he'll make the rounds in the whole shop. He'll decal department, parts room,
Hmm.
assembly. He sees everybody and he'll go and talk to them and ask you how you're doing and what's new, what's going on, and of course, like at our plate, he'll ask us, what happened, where do we need to be better, or he'll just want to talk about the race in general. Um, but that's it. He's at the shop for an hour, hour and a half, and then he's back up to the museum where he hangs out most of the
Yep.
time. And Jimmy, no, he's not working on cars, but like I said, he's upstairs. He's working the floor. He's working the phones. He's getting with our PR department and our
Hmm.
marketing department and what we need to do to be better and look better at the racetrack.
I will say you guys have had some nice looking race cars coming out of that shop. I love like
Well, thank you.
I like the which one was it was the one last year. I think it was the Darlington one you guys ran, the Richard Petty throwback, I think it
Yes.
was. I love that car. I wish they would make that into a diecast. I don't know if they did,
Oh, they
but
did. It just well, so we had that one was a petty one, and then our second Daytona race was also a petty throwback, and both those actually just came out in die casts. And we
John's a big
actually
diecast guy. That's why I
we
say
we just
this.
we just ran another petty throwback to Wally Downbeck
Hmm.
when he drove the 43 this past Darlington race, and they're actually going to be coming out with that diecast, I think, in like June. So they've been kind of really pushing out the diecast stuff. I know they got ahead on paint schemes to get to the company, so we could have like this year's stuff out sooner than later.
Tough luck too at Darlington. You guys got caught up in a unfortunate situation there.
Yeah, we were moving forward. Unfortunately, we got in the wall a little bit in qualifying. We were very fast in practice. Obviously, we were P1 in practice. And we went out in qualifying, got in the wall a little bit, slowed us down. And I think we started 19th. And Eric got up to, I think we were like ninth when we got spun by the 11, and that really kind of, unfortunately, where it was in the race, being in like stage two, it pushed us back in traffic, and you know. Eric really enjoys this new horsepower package that we have at the short tracks. He definitely can feel the difference, and he has to, modulate the throttle and all that good stuff to save tires. And he's really good at that, coming from a late model background. Um, but unfortunately, it killed our track position, and then we just got back to 10th at the end of the race. I think on the last lap we got to 10th. But we feel, and I think Eric said it himself, like if that hadn't happened, we probably would have finished fifth. We didn't have a winning car, but we had a really good car. So it made me feel good about what we got coming up.
Absolutely. And it's me and John have been talking about this because we like to observe all of the teams that are going on, and it just seems like you guys have struggled a little bit with the next gens, obviously. We'll talk about the struggles in a minute, but it seems like you guys are always so close to a win, and then unfortunately, like bad luck strikes, like Daytona 500, for example. You guys were leading coming to the white flag, and Carson Hocevar turned you guys, which I mean, it was hard race, and everybody's doing what they got to do to try to win the race. It seems like you guys are oh so close to getting that win.
I feel like I still have nightmares about the 500. Unfortunately,
You
we're
did
we're two
everything
we
right
were
too.
we were 2 miles away from winning the Daytona 500, and
Mhm.
I think that's probably the most devastated I've felt ever after a race. Which that's plate racing, and you're bound to expect it these days. But like we played out the strategy right all day, just riding in the back, and we just, like I said, Carson threw a late block and he got spun, and then the 45 just kind of hooked us, and then he went on to win the race, and that
Yeah.
that kind of made it a hard pill to swallow. So, and then like Atlanta the next week, we were running ninth when William Byron, I think it was, wrecked and hit us right in the left rear, and it broke our toe link, and we lost 2 laps, and that was like with 40 to go. And then Coda, we were running ninth, and again, and we had a throttle hang on us, which is very uncommon, and it's probably, I think, the first throttle that's ever hung in my career, which was kind of scary. But we had that problem, and that killed our day. We lost all our track position. So, like within the first three races, if just two of those events go a little bit different, you're talking, a way different situation for the year. Obviously we struggled at Vegas. We did not run the way we thought we should have, which was kind of a surprise to us. And then Martinsville, I felt like we had like a 17th, 18th place car. That's kind of where we drove all day, just very hard to pass. Which I feel like it was that way for everybody, but I felt like, you probably could have taken our car and just picked it up and moved it anywhere, and it probably would have rode in the same four positions up there, just which is frustrating.
Yeah.
But we've had two top tens already this year, in Darlington and Phoenix, with the new short track package, and the short track package has been something we as a company have struggled with over the last 2 years. So we feel like we've made progress on it. Obviously, there's more work to be done, but we've taken a step in the right direction for that, and we just got to keep things you do now, and this is the hard part a lot of people don't understand, is like things that you start working on now and fixing now, you don't see the fruits of those labors till 5 months down the road, so like, and that's the hard part, like when you kind of get down the wrong direction of a path, it's not a quick like turn it around for next week. It takes time, and it takes a lot of people to do that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
John.
So I was just thinking, like, you were talking obviously about how good you've been with the bad luck. But with that, the proof of speed before it has happened, how do you think the car will finish in points? Do you think you'll be able to make the chase, I guess? Because right now you definitely feel like you, from what I've seen, I feel like you can. You have enough speed for it.
I told everybody at the beginning of the year that if we don't make the chase, we should be ashamed of ourselves. But that's the goal, right? Is to make the chase. Our goals for the year is obviously to finish 16th or higher in points. Like that's our cutoff window. Like by the time this right before Daytona last year, we were 16th in owner points. And Eric, I think, was 17th in driver points. And then Daytona happens and we finish third or coming to the line and we don't make the playoffs and it shuffles us back because cars behind us make playoffs and all that. Like we were a good team. We went on a hot run last year for about 8 weeks in the summer month and really kind of just knocked off good finishes, got stage points, and we did what we needed to do. And by no means are we out of it already. You know, I think we're 35 or 38 points out of 16th right now. I mean, on a really good day, you can get 56 to 75 points, right? So it's not by any means a closeout. I feel like we will make the playoffs and the chase. I feel like we will make it and we'll be competitive in it. Are we a championship winning organization? I feel like we will get there. Obviously, we have a lot to do to catch up to the big three, the big four organizations right now, but we're getting there. We're putting in the effort. Um, is it going to happen overnight? No.
Mhm.
But I honestly feel like this team can win. Our goal right now, and this was a goal we set back in December, was to win 2 races this year, and we honestly feel like we can do that. And we're not talking like super speedway stuff. We're talking like we can legit show up with speed, win 2 races this year, and that's our goal.
Yeah,
Very,
and you've definitely shown the speed to do that. So
yeah. I can agree. Like Eric Jones has been, it's just a bad luck, and I feel like there's a lot of drivers that can say, if there wasn't bad luck, there wouldn't be any luck at all. A lot of
Exactly.
drivers
I've been
say
asking
that.
for rabbit foots for like 2 years. I feel
Well,
like
Easter
I
Bunny's
just
coming, so the Easter Bunny is coming, so maybe. Absolutely. We don't want to keep you here all night. Obviously, I know you got your family and stuff. Your week off. We don't want to take too much
You're
time.
good. You're
A
good.
few more things we'll chat about. Obviously, we went from Gen 4 in 20, it was like 2020, I believe it was. We went from the Gen 4 to the next gen. As a car chief, how difficult was that when you were so good with a car that you had new, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're going to a completely different car next year. You got to relearn everything. And how much of a challenge has it been since then, just kind of learning this race car?
It was very challenging at the start. God, everybody says it's a kit car, which it is really, but in essence, it was how do you find to get the most out of that kit car where the other groups can't, right? And just we're all in this super small box. And that's what's made it even harder these days is because you're all in the same box, but now you all have to find the edge of where you can push things within that small box, and you're talking about moving things and trying to oh, can I see if I can get the spoiler over a little bit? Can I get, it's so hard to do. And we're working in thousandths of an inch these days, where in the old car, you know, we were a quarter of an inch, like half an inch on things. So it's huge. I feel like more I don't have an engineering degree, and I feel like I'm a dinosaur in the sport nowadays. Like I feel like I'm surrounded by engineers. Pretty much the car's set up with a roamer arm. We come in and scale it after the fact, but like everything's just done so precisely these days. And when I first started, it was a plumb bob. Pretty much is how you center it, and you had the contraption to center the steering rack, but that was it. Like and now it's just so much into getting these cars to be competitive. It's really kind of just amazing to see.
Mhm. Absolutely. Couple fun questions we have. We always like to have a little bit of fun here on our podcast. We do a segment every week on our podcast called "Have You Ever? No, I've Never," where
Okay.
we break down some of the craziest moments in motorsports during the week. Um, we talked about the big one last week for the O'Reilly race, and then I believe we also talked about we bring in some random fact. There was like a hockey fight between the NYPD and the NYFD in a charity match, and it was really funny. So we like to have a little bit of fun when we can. Obviously, we're kind of winding down our show here. Um, this is kind of a fun question that I think a lot of people don't get to ask often. From a car chief's perspective, you've been in NASCAR long enough. Could you pick a Mount Rushmore for NASCAR? I mean, it's got to be hard.
Yeah, it would be hard, but I honestly, you got to go Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson just
Hmm.
for their 7 championships. And then, who do you go for the fourth, right? That's the hardest one.
Hmm.
But if I had to, I would probably put David Pearson on for
Okay.
mine because uh, statistically, when you look back at it, the man didn't run that many full seasons. When he did, he won a championship, and I think his win percentage is over like 21%, career
Mhm.
wise, and that says something. So I would have to put David Pearson as my fourth.
If there was a driver you could work with, past or present, that you, as a car chief, is there one that you would love to have had the opportunity to work with? You can't really say Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty because you're kind of working for
Nah,
them
nah.
now.
I don't know, man. People think traveling schedule's hard now. Good Lord, the stories Dale and Richard tell about driving from track to track in the race car, just throwing the toolbox and the spare tires in the back. uh, if I that one's kind of hard. I've never really thought of that. That's a really good question. A person that I feel like is kind of close to my personality, and I feel like that I would have got along with and worked really good with was maybe Tony Stewart.
Okay, that's an interesting pick. And is there a reason why would you pick that?
Uh, no, I just feel like I've met Tony a few times and talked with him, but
Hmm.
I just feel like we both have that type of fire and passion about when we racing's the thing. Like when we're there, that's what's important and nothing else is. And that's we just want to win and we want to be competitive and want to be the best.
Hmm.
That's what Tony is, and that's how kind of I am. So I would say that. And then if I had to pick a second one, my favorite driver as a little kid growing up was Davey Allison, so he would be my second.
Okay, very good picks. Absolutely. Um, which sister is your favorite?
Oh, I'm not answering that one. Nope, not touching it. Not
My mom
no,
told
because
me.
both
My
of them are
mom
going to
told me to
watch this, and
ask you.
I'm
My mom
not.
told me to
I
ask
gotta,
you.
I gotta have an Easter dinner with no arguments. My mother said this year, so I'm not
Yes.
gonna, we're not gonna set that off.
All right,
Uh,
I have one really quick. So you know the Twisted Sister from like the Gen 4 era, I believe.
Yes.
When you worked on the trucks, did you ever look back at the Twisted Sister? Because I know the trucks have the end kind of poking out in a similar way. Like, did you ever look back to the Gen 4 Cup car to try to see what you could do for the trucks?
So in a sense, the trucks were already kind of that way. Like if you look at the trucks in the late 2005, 2000, actually it looked like 2010 to like 2018. If you went back and looked at trucks from like looking dead on down the straightaways, the bodies were so yawed out, tails to the right. And then at play tracks, tails all the way to the left. Like they looked wrecked. They looked like horseshoes going around the racetrack. And I really kind of miss that in essence from trucks because there's still quite a bit of freedom and body work to be done on the truck series where it's not in the Xfinity and the Cup. And you can just, that was really cool because it was like, who's bringing the best weapon to the racetrack like that, and that's how I looked at it is like, who's bringing the best. I kind of miss that aspect of it in the Cup series. The Cup series, like I said, we use this Hawkeye and it measures everything to a hundredth of a thousandth inch, and it's like that's that low window we have to be in. Cars got to be all green. Any yellow it fails, and it's like, man, you put one of them trucks in there, and I don't even think it would read a color. So
absolutely. Take us through a day in a race day for you. What's your day look like?
So for the crew guys, we get let into the garage an hour early before the garage officially opens for on race day. So we're usually in there 3.5 to 4 hours before green flag. So when we come in, pretty much I have the guys start running tires to pit road while the pit crew sets up the pit box. From there, we do final adjustments after an hour after we get in. I'll hand all the guys their adjustments. Hey, this is what the engineers and the crew chief and I discussed. These are our changes. I'll give it to the front end changes to my front end guy, rear changes to my underneath guy, and
Mhm.
then my interior guy, he gets the cockpit all ready for Eric. And then pretty much I just kind of go over and make sure that they do those changes. I follow up with them. And then if I have to do brake tape, quarter window tape, anything like that, any other shot clicks, I'll handle shot clicks. So pretty much those guys, they know what they're doing, and I don't
Mhm.
really need to follow up with them. But that's like my job, right? I just, hey, you guys did this right. So from there, we'll push the car out to the grid. And then I go to the pit box to make sure, all the monitors are on what they need to be for myself, for the pit crew downstairs. I'll follow up with them, make sure we have the tires laid out in the correct tire order. Usually an hour and a half before the race, we have a big team meeting in the hauler with the crew chief, Eric, pit crew, and road crew about the plan for that day, what our pit strategy is, what our plans are if things do go wrong, damage repair wise, who's going over the wall, who's not going over the wall, stuff like that. By that point, I usually probably just get to have lunch quick, me and the guys. And then you're getting dressed and you're out there on pit road 40 minutes before the race starts. So you can do your final air
Mhm.
pressure adjustments and all that and be out there for the anthem and all that. So it goes by, it's super quick. Like you feel like there'd be some time to sit down and kind of take a breath, but really it's hard nonstop go until the race really kind of hits green, and then you kind of just like, all right, well, my job's done until it has to come down pit road, and then
Mhm.
but obviously, like during a race, once the race starts, I communicate with the crew chief. Will tell me, hey, well, this is what I want for air. I'll tell my tire guy, take a half pound out of the left rear,
Mhm.
whatever. And then I tell the pit crew, hey, this is what we're doing on the upcoming pit stop. This is our pit window from lap to lap. So be ready in that span. Um, Tell my fuel guy how much fuel we need in the car if we're not going to top it all the way off for handling issues. Talk to the car chiefs on the boxes in front and behind me so we make sure, hey, we're not coming in at the same time, going to cost each other time on the racetrack if it's a green flag stop. And then, just goes through the day like that. And then after the race, it's pull the spacer off, load it up, and head on home.
Mhm. Is there any time for you to like, do you get to like soak in anything? Like I know like Daytona 500, for example, they do so much pre-race. You got celebrities walking around. You got the one year president was there. Is there ever a time like I know you're busy focused on the race, but is there a time where you can sit back and kind of be a race fan, be like also like this is really cool. I'm getting to be a part of this, kind of soak everything in.
I would say the only time of year, I shouldn't say only time of year. I kind of do that when the anthem's going on. I kind of look around why the anthem's going on and kind of just. I don't, unfortunately, with the way things they have, whoever the grand marshal is, or I don't really get to see any of the celebrities unless they walk through the garage area. So I kind of miss out on that aspect of it. I'm kind of focused on what we have going on for that day and being locked in. But like during the anthem, I kind of you
Mhm.
look around and you take in, and I do every year for the 500. You're just it's to be down there on the grid is always just kind of amazing to
Mhm.
just take in that you're part of the great American race, right?
Yep.
And I would say the same thing kind of happens when we go to Indy, the Coke 600, and the Southern 500. For some reason, the marquee events always kind of I do the same thing, kind of just like take in, like, hey man,
Mhm.
you're getting to do something your little self would never thought of.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even like when I go to like a truck race and I'm just sitting on the grid, it's just like you look around, you see the crowd, and it's just like, man, this is something like it's gotta be like obviously you're doing your dream job, but it's just gotta be a dream life knowing like, hey, this is what I get to do for a living and I'm having fun
Yeah,
doing it.
I don't think of it that way enough. Like, and I should. Like, people say eventually it turns into another job, right? But no, like, it is my dream job, and I'm very fortunate to do what I do. And how long? I mean, this is my 20th year now in
Hmm.
NASCAR, and like, I think I took it in a lot more in Daytona this year, and I think that's why obviously the end of the race got me for other reasons. But I think that's it kind of hit me harder that because I was feeling it more that day. It was like, wow, I can't believe I've already been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have I'm sure you got quite a few years still left in the tank for you, that's for sure. I
Oh
hope.
yeah, I can't sit still. I like traveling. I love being
Absolutely.
at the racetrack.
Hmm. Absolutely. Our final couple minutes here. I'm gonna ask because I got the Bills hat on. How you liking our Bills this year? I know we got a new coach. Josh Allen just had a baby today. First off, congratulations to him and Haley. But how
Hope
you
you're
like
watching, Josh. Yeah. It's hard, right? I really liked Sean McDermott as our head coach. I don't know if I was only one of a few fans that liked that. I don't know. I really liked
I see? I
McDermott,
didn't like him personally, but that's
and I don't think I think Brandon Bean's kind of done an okay job as a GM, and I kind of was on the stance of that he should have been the one gone. So obviously, I'm hoping, as every year, it's finally the year for the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I like some of the roster moves they made this offseason. I'm hoping for a little bit more. Obviously, I think we'll find out more in training camp by how everybody looks. I just want everybody to stay healthy this year. I feel like the Bills' biggest struggle every year is we cannot keep people healthy and in good shape. And then by the time we need them at the end of the year, everybody, I mean, Josh was limping around with a broke foot for the last 6 weeks of the year, and and he's playing on it. And, we don't, when you want to win a Super Bowl and you want to win championships, that says a lot by your leader doing those kind of things. But at the same time, you need everybody in their best shape, and that goes the same for us, pit crews and
Mhm.
my road guys. Like, I don't need them sick. I don't need them having the flu. I need everybody in tip top shape, taking care of their bodies. God, man, I hope it's the year, but I don't know about it.
John, I'll have you finish us off with our final question. I did just tell you to do it, but um, it's a very important question that we want to know. It's our final one, obviously. I think I left him
KT
on a
one?
curveball. No, I left him on a curveball. I texted you it. I
Oh,
get.
did not.
See, we're new to this Zoom podcast. This is actually
It's
John.
all
I think
good.
this is John's first time doing like an interview
Yeah.
through like NASCAR stuff. So
Okay.
there you go, John. Now you
Gotcha. All
finish this
right.
off here.
All right. So we talked about pretty much the past of Legacy, where you're at right now. How do you see the future of Legacy Motorsports in the next few, maybe 10 years?
Uh, Championships.
Hmm.
We are full steam ahead on making this to be. We don't want it to be, the Hendricks, the Gibbs, those organizations. We want to be in that mix, and we are going to be in that mix. Obviously, we're in our third year with Toyota. It's actually like our first the full year with a little bit of information behind that. Obviously we have a somewhat of an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing now, not a full one, but we have somewhat of an alliance with them, and it's helped tremendously. But we're trying to forge our own path, and why that's tough and it's been hard. We're starting to see the fruits of that labor from the last 2, 3 years of doing that, building our tools and getting the right people in the building to be in managerial positions, and also people that are building the cars and wrapping cars and the hauler drivers, just everybody, including marketing. We just needed to get all the right people in place, and we're doing that. Um, if we're not competing for championships, and I honestly feel like I said earlier, I feel like we're a chase team now. And I honestly feel like we as a company should at least have one car in the chase this year. Next year, we need to have two. And then probably within 3 to 4, I think in 3 to 4 years, we need to be one of the top 4 or 5 cars at the end of the season to be vying for that championship. That's where we need to be. And every team says the same thing, right? But from the things I'm seeing behind the scenes and things we've done during the off season, and the things I know that we're even aiming for next year already, that are already in the works, I have a lot of faith in that. So I don't see why in 10 years. I honestly feel like you'll be saying that legacy motor clubs are
Hmm.
ready. They're part of the big four. They're part of the big five. I think you'll see 2311 will be up there. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say they'll be part of the big five.
Yep.
Yep. Well, Austin, it's always a pleasure getting to chat with you, and I think it's the last time I think we got to do one of these was like 2022, and I think it was. Let's just say we've came a long way. Obviously, you with your program, and now obviously I've kind of expanded this production a little bit. So always a pleasure getting to
Absolutely.
chat with you.
No, thank you for having me. And I mean, last time I was on, we won a race, I think 2 months later. So I'm hoping the same luck
Fingers
comes around
crossed.
this time,
Hey,
fingers crossed,
if that's the case, we'll do Zoom. We'll do a Zoom podcast with you every week.
I'll be a special
Yeah.
guest. If you need some insight,
Um,
weekly insight, I'd be
yeah,
glad to if it means wins coming in the door.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
my wife was joking with this. She goes, "Are you that superstitious?" I said, "I will take anything
Hey,
right now."
if
Like
Eric
I
Jones,
will take.
if Eric Jones wins this weekend, not only is Austin going to fly us to the track, but we're going to do a live in-person interview in 2 weeks with him at a
I'll
track.
get you hard cards. We'll get you in the
We'll
door.
be
You
there.
can come to every race. I'll be like, this is
Absolutely.
this is who we need every week, Eric. They got to come to the track."
Absolutely, but yeah, Austin, it's always a pleasure, and best of luck the rest of the year. If you guys do win, hey, we will definitely call you back up and have you come back
Yeah,
on and
yeah.
chat with us.
When we win, not
When
if,
you win,
when we win
when
this
you win,
year,
sorry.
I'd like to be back on. You're going to have to
Absolutely.
give me a few days to sober up, but you'll
Hey,
have get me back on.
absolutely. And if you are ever in town, if you're around Oswego at all and you wanted to come check out our studio, we'd also love to have you in studio. So feel free to if you're ever around, come on, swing on by. I know Watkins Glen's a couple months away still, but yeah.
It's May. It's only a month away.
So
Yeah,
One
we'll be
month.
Austin,
there.
It's gonna be
always a
cold. It's
pleasure.
gonna be
Yeah,
freezing cold.
that's gonna be a weird one
Oh,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That I didn't like that move, but no. We when I'm up in New York, we need to get together.
Absolutely. John, any final words? Any comments?
just thank you. Thank you for coming on. It
He's
was a
also
pleasure talking to you.
No,
John's using
absolutely.
this. John's using this for a news writing project tomorrow. So
All right.
we're kind of
And
we also
man, I do not miss school. I'm going to say that right again. I think I already
yeah,
said it twice. But God, I don't envy you guys at all right now.
absolutely. We're getting credited to do this. We're getting extra credit through one of our professors, Tyler King. So it's like
Awesome.
we're getting to have fun. We're also making a little extra credit, but he's using this for a project tomorrow. So we just appreciate obviously the insight and you getting to take some time out of your night to be with us. And yeah, thank you.
No, absolutely. It was great, guys.
All right, have a great night, Austin.
Thank you so much.
You too.
Take care. When we come right back here, we are gonna talk about what's new in NASCAR. Me and John, we have a little bit of a 20-minute finish off for our podcast. We got a little bit to talk about, and then we'll wrap it up here tonight. So thanks again, Austin, and we'll see you soon.
See.
Thank you.
We're here with Robert Bell. Unfortunately, your week has come to an end. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to run. You weren't able to get the oil pump into the race car. We'll talk about that in a second. But how was your week? I mean, it's always fun here.
It was phenomenal. Everybody, it's phenomenal deal, you know. I love being here. I love racing. I love my fans. We just had some bad luck. We broke a motor on Wednesday night. We picked the motor up on Thursday morning. We got the motor in the car, but our oil pump is so messed up. We just couldn't make it work.
Absolutely. Tell me about the crew. I mean, these three kids came up
I
to
don't
you
know,
on
dude.
Tuesday night, and they said,
yeah,
we want to work on
Monday.
your car.
Yeah.
And they helped you all week.
All week. Yeah.
And what's that mean to you to have people like that?
I don't know how to say it. It's unspeakable, you know. People are so good to me. That's why I come here, because I love them as much as they love me.
And I think we probably should notice the fact that you have a whole. See, they all love you here in
It's
Tulsa.
awesome.
I mean,
awesome.
What about this event to you though is just so special being here?
This is my number one race of the year. I could race anywhere. I have a Silver Crown car. I got a USAC car, but this show and this week means more to me than any race I race all year.
Absolutely.
Anyone.
Absolutely. And like I just said, you got a whole a bunch of fans here.
Guys
So
like
yeah.
this that would come to Chili Bowl. Not
Absolutely.
For the $1 Million Man.
Right.
What's it?
That's what they've been telling
What's
me
it?
all week.
Absolutely.
You know, I had 4 Australia guys walk up here and go, and this was on Tuesday. They go, "We're here for your T-shirts and we're here to watch a race, and we come here just for you. We didn't come here for nobody else." And they flew all the way from Australia, 18 hours or whatever,
Yep.
just for me.
And I'm sure that's got to mean a lot having so many fans to you.
It's so overwhelming that it's hard to explain.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, if I was out there winning races every night, it would be a different story, but I'm not. You know? I won a heat race here in 2017, and Tony Stewart was running the deal then.
This interview has turned into story time.
And he literally said, "I've never seen this place do that, ever." You know? And all the time that he'd ever raced here or been here. This place, 40,000 people went unglued.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well,
And
Robert,
that's awesome.
Robert, I know you got a bunch of fans here, but I do got to ask: are we going to see you back here next year?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
That's all we need to hear.
No, we'll be here.
All right, I
And,
appreciate.
and
appreciate
we'll be
hanging
here
with
with
you.
more T-shirts.
I appreciate you hanging out with me all week.
Me too.
Absolutely.
We ran out of T-shirts in 40 minutes.
That's good.
You know, yeah.
That's a good issue to have.
Yes.
So thanks for chatting.
All right, we are back here on the Out of the Fast Lane podcast. We just took a quick break, obviously saying goodbye to Austin. John, I know this is your first time getting to interview somebody in NASCAR, like in the business. First off, how cool was that? Obviously, you get to finally say you interviewed somebody, and you just got some great insight on a top cup team right now and what the future of Legacy looks like, what Legacy is doing right now. I mean, just awesome opportunity.
Oh yeah, it's great hearing the insight, the background, just how happy he seemed just
Mhm.
talking about it. Because like obviously dream job
Yep.
for him, and it's just you could hear it like with how he was talking
I hope
about
they
his
win.
wins
I
and
hope they
stuff.
win so he keeps up on that
Yeah.
promise to hard cars. I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Hey, Bristol baby, anything can
Exactly,
happen.
Bristol. That'd be awesome. Eric, please
That
win
would be
this
so
weekend.
awesome.
Or please win
I
next
mean,
weekend, I should
next
say.
weekend,
Yeah, next
Bristol, yeah.
weekend.
Hey, well,
Absolutely.
if they do win Talladega, that's
Hey, that'd be even awesome. We go to Talladega, that'd be great.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just really cool. Like the insight he had, like when he was talking about his relationship with Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty, like stuff that
Yeah.
people don't really get to know. Like it's just, I feel like that's important. That I'm glad we got to touch on it. Austin, obviously, great for joining us, and we appreciate that. Again, I know he's still watching this, obviously. Um, but yeah, no, you learned a lot. Like I learned a lot about their program. I mean, you and me have kind of cut them up a little bit the past couple weeks, but maybe we shouldn't have been. Maybe what he just said is what if that's what he's going off of, I can agree. Like they've been consistent, they've been good.
Yeah.
I mean, the bad luck happens. I feel like, and his
Yeah.
insight on all of that, I feel like was really good. And yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, because you can see the speed in both of the
Mhm.
cars. It's just obviously bad luck at Daytona, Atlanta.
Yep.
Atlanta is probably the most confusing because that wreck probably shouldn't have even happened in the first place. We already spoke about it, but like that
Yeah.
one sucks the worst, I think.
Yeah.
Because that one was like purely just a move. The rest, yeah, just speed shown, and you
Hmm.
could tell that they're getting better. Like
Hmm.
they won a few years ago, obviously at Darlington, after Chevy cut support with the team because they were going to Toyota. And it's like
Hmm.
that's impressive that they managed to pull that off. And now they're running better week in and week out.
Yeah.
And I think they'll definitely make the chase.
Hmm.
Just because of how close the points are. Like if you have
Yep.
a few good days, you're going to overtake some of these people who are
Hmm.
right next to you. So even though they're 23rd, it looks like they're, far out. They're
Yep.
not. And
They're
it's,
not. No.
yeah.
And I would love to see the legacy team in obviously running in the chase. That'd be awesome. And yeah, no, once again, just a big thanks to Austin for joining us. And we definitely appreciate it. I know John appreciates it for his project. You guys are probably wondering, where's Paige? Paige is not here tonight. Obviously, she's our newest co-host. She couldn't make it this evening. She's a marketing that's her major. She's marketing. Tomorrow they have a big business like law exam or whatever that she has to take part in. So she really wanted to be here. She really wanted to hear what Austin had to say. She'll probably watch this back later. But obviously our school does come first at the end of the day. So she's currently studying. So Paige, we miss you. We'll see you in our next podcast and probably next Tuesday. But yeah, no, very cool to talk with Austin there. And again, thank you to him. What's new in NASCAR? A lot has happened in 48 hours. We went off the air on Tuesday, and then all of a sudden, just a bunch of stuff came at us. Obviously, we talked about the Daniel Dye suspension. He's being reinstated, but he's not returning to college. We already caught up on that. But the big news is out of the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Nick Sanchez's car has been withdrawn from the weekend at Rockingham, leaving there only being 38 cars in the field. So Cletus McFarland will be in. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm thinking that maybe RCR bought it. I don't think so. I also just think it's a whole little weird situation going on right now because now that you look at the entry list for Saturday's race at Rockingham, there is only one lone Ford that will be in the race, and that's JJ Yaley. Weird thing there with the 25 team. Let's go JJ Yaley first off. I love JJ.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I got to party with JJ at the Chili Bowl earlier this year.
Oh, that's
What an
awesome.
awesome dude. But yeah, no, it's weird, John. I don't know what to say of all this. I know it's kind of still developing, but am racing by the sounds of things might be done with NASCAR.
Yeah, it's rough because I guess Daniel Dye was a big like contributor from what it sounded like he had some stake in AM racing, I guess, through I'm not entirely sure how, but that's what I've heard. So
Mhm.
I guess they lost funding with him obviously not going back to racing um at in the trucks. So they lost that and
I hate it for Nick
I guess
Sanchez. I
yeah,
really do.
Nick Sanchez, it hurts the worst for him because he doesn't have a sponsor he brings with him, but he has his skill, and his skill is enough to win a race. He won one last year. It was
Mhm.
Atlanta, but Atlanta takes a lot of skill now, compared to other plate tracks. Like it's more, even though all plate tracks are skill, they're more of a crapshoot than other races. But I just feel bad for Sanchez because he has a skill, just does not have
Mhm.
any sponsorship behind him.
Yeah, this was the big topic we wanted to talk about quick before we got off. Obviously, Nick Sanchez, he's won races, like you said. He's had a great truck career. He won that race at Atlanta last year. It's unfortunate because last year that team, if you remember, they had Harrison Burton as their driver. Like AM Racing has been a quality team in the NASCAR O'Reilly series, and it's just kind of sad now all of a sudden it sounds like they might not be coming back at all.
Yeah, I mean, just last year, I think Harrison Burton was in the 25, and they either made the playoffs or were darn close. Like
Yeah.
they're not a slouch of a team, but it's like it just sucks that
Yeah.
funding means that much. And
And
if they're gone, the five car's not full time. Like
it
they
makes
are
you
full
wonder.
time, but they're even less funded. Like they need sponsors more. So I don't know if we're gonna have a Ford in a few weeks in the field.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for sure. Barrett Cope Racing also not racing this weekend, also withdrawing, which is the 30 team that Carson Ware, Cody Ware, and a couple other drivers have been racing this year. So it's a whole developing thing. It's a little
Yeah.
weird all of a sudden Ford's just kind of like getting pushed aside as it comes to the Xfinity and O'Reilly series. Outside Xfinity, O'Reilly series. I don't know. It's a lot that we're still working on. Obviously, when we come back to
Yeah.
studio on Tuesday, hopefully we'll have more to talk about with that. Obviously, we'll be talking about Rockingham, trucks, and Xfinity, and maybe a little bit ARCA. We'll see. But we got a lot to talk about on Tuesday. Um, Another thing I saw, Chad Fincham is back racing for MBM Racing this weekend.
Yeah.
I know it's not the top team, MBM Racing, though. It's always great to see them in the field because that makes the field 39 cars instead of 38. So it's good to see Chad Fincham back in a ride as well. He hasn't ran a Cup Series race in, I think, 2 years. So all around a good deal is there as well.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised when they announced Mears to the
Oh,
62
yeah.
and then
Casey Mears is racing
Fincham.
too.
Yeah, and then Fincham to the 66. Just because obviously Mears ran the 66 last time. Maybe they had to have been happy that they made the 500, but maybe they were a little bit upset that he floored it through a wreck and kind of destroyed the car.
He still made the 500. I would have
He
done the
still
same
made the
thing. I would have
500,
done the
but
same thing, man. Come on. You got to try to do what you got to do.
I wonder if that had anything to do with him not going back to that
I don't
team.
think so.
I don't think it did, but you never know.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but those lower funded teams, you always love seeing them in the racing field just because it is a field filler at the end of the day. And when the Cup Series is only getting 38 cars, you want those guys in there. So good luck to Chad, and hopefully maybe he'll do a good have a good week. We'll have to see in the upcoming weeks here. Yeah, so that's gonna pretty much do it here for our podcast tonight. We hope we're tonight. I say that it is actually right now, guys. It is 9:18. It's at nighttime. I'm currently not even in Hewitt Hall. I'm in the Shinneman Center in SUNY Oswego, in the big like study lounge area. This is where I've been filming tonight. John, I believe, is in some I don't even know where are you located right now?
The basement of Hewitt in one of the study
Oh,
rooms.
you got into Hewitt? You got into Hewitt? Holy
Yeah, it
cow.
was still open.
Bro,
So
you should have told me. I would have came over. You got your Juan zones, I see. I'm ordering
yeah, I
Juan zones.
haven't had a chance.
I gotta get on that. I gotta order Juan zones here in a minute on the Get mobile app. But
I hope it's not too cold. Oh
yeah,
man,
I'm sorry
it
about
did
that. You
sit for
could
an hour.
go put it in the microwave.
Yeah, no, I mean I'll still eat it, but like,
But
not. It's not the same. It's not the
oh,
same.
yeah, and shout out to Juan zones, Calzones. Maybe
Oh, they're great.
I'm hoping we can get Jason on our podcast and he can bring us some Juan zones. That would be
That would
amazing.
be awesome.
Would be the best partnership podcast we've ever done. So we're gonna get in touch with Jason. Jason wants to hire me to be a delivery driver. That's a whole nother thing we'll talk about some other time. But we just got a lot going on here at the old SUNY Oswego. But yeah, just make sure you guys stay tuned. You're not gonna want to miss anything else that we have to do. Obviously, Paige will be back with us on Tuesday. So I'll have more to talk about with her. And yeah, me and John were talking about it. What a great add that is to our team. I mean, John, from your standpoint, my standpoint, we just love the fact that we have a driver analyst now that can talk about from the racer's shoes, and she's very good at it too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a lot of fun because, yeah, obviously the analyst side. Neither of us are professional race car drivers.
She is.
So,
So
yeah, exactly. Like we can't talk about too well about like
what a driver
how,
did. Yeah.
yeah, stuff goes on. I'm not good at explaining it, so I'm just gonna,
Yeah, we're
but
good. We're
it's
winging it
also
right now.
fun.
This was
Yeah.
not, I will have you guys know this wasn't even scripted. I just threw the new at NASCAR thing to John here in like the last 20 minutes of our interview with Austin because I wanted to talk about it because we can't not
Yeah.
talk about it. But we'll talk about it more on Tuesday, obviously. But any final comments, John, as far as we go into the weekend? I know Easter's coming, so first off, happy Easter to you and your family, John. Um,
Okay.
but any final comments?
JJ League gets a top 20.
That'd be awesome. I would
I
love that.
think
I would love that.
I gotta say
Only
though,
for
one thing. So obviously April 2nd today. It's not gonna release April 2nd, obviously, but when we're recording, it's April 2nd. Yesterday, JJ Ailey was one of the first to do an April Fool's, posted on Twitter, now known as X.
Mhm.
Um, and he's just like statement about my retirement. And
Oh,
like I read it and I'm just like, no.
so he got
And
you.
then
He got you.
yeah, so it starts, it's just like I've had a wonderful career. It's been a blast. I love my family and nothing's changing. I made you fall for it. I'm coming back, baby. And I was like,
Um,
yes.
I will say shout out to I got a buddy back in Fonda, Jay Ingersoll. Shout out to Jay Ingersoll. Yesterday I'll show a photo here somewhere. I'll have John screenshot the JJ everything as well so you guys can see that. But Jay Ingersoll's team, the Car Fab Racing team, Kevin Acumda Racing, yesterday made a post on Facebook, John, saying Brady Hauser will officially be joining our team this year, racing the third Palmer Service Center sponsored race car. People actually fell for it, actually thought I was
That
racing.
would have
It
been
was awesome. It
awesome
was
though.
awesome. It'd be a cool opportunity. I'd love to race,
It
but
would
like
be, yeah.
I don't have the funding for it. I don't have the skill for it.
Neither do I.
Um,
Oh, come on. You
Paige,
could
I'll put Paige in the. We can put Paige in the car. Paige, if you guys need somebody to drive, we can put Paige Smith in the car. That works.
you don't have to start with the skill. You just got to know how to build skill.
Or build race cars like Austin does.
True.
But yeah. So April Fool's definitely got me, and yeah. It was definitely a fun day yesterday. But that's going to do it here for us on the Out of the Fast Lane podcast. Make sure you continue to comment, like, subscribe. If you got any questions for us, please put them in the comment section below. We'd love to read some questions from fans or people that watch the show. Put that in the comment section below. We'd love to answer some stuff on the air. Maybe even do a Q&A here in a couple weeks. But we got a lot going on. I'll be at Can-Am Speedway next week for my first race of the season. I invited John. He's going to go home for his sister's birthday, unfortunately, so he will not be able to go there. But I will be at Can-Am Speedway on the 10th and 11th. So there you guys go. You guys know where I'm going to be here in the next couple weeks. Then Utica Rome opens the following week. So a lot going on. Dirt racing is here. But we also are going to be watching the NASCAR stuff as well. But yeah, no, this has been another great episode of the Out of the Fast Lane podcast from Brady Hauser, John Connor. We thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this cool interview with Austin Pollak. And again, shout out to Austin for coming on, taking some time out of his night, and good luck to him and his team for the rest of the season. I know that there's a win coming, and he even said it, so I think there is a win coming. I just want the hard card. That sounds really cool. Me and John really want the hard cards. But yeah, everybody have a happy Easter. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. Oh, it's a frog. Thanks for that, John. But yeah, everybody have a happy Easter, and we'll see you all back here. Oh, and also a quick shout out, thanks to our sponsors: Parks Company LLC, Swagger Factory Apparel, Utica Speedway, Ted's Body Shop, 3x7 World Dirt, Barney Sanko. I
7-Eleven.
forgot. I said 7-Eleven. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe officially coming soon. Maybe Juan Zones, Calzones. We'll add to that list. That'd be awesome as well. Fingers crossed. We'll talk to Jason on that. But no, thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you all back here on Tuesday. Enjoy the races and enjoy the rock. The rock is cooking, as WWE would say. Rockingham Speedway. You can't see me. Whatever all that stuff is. But have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you back here very, very soon. So long, y'all.
Peace.
Out of the fast